When I was assigned to write a TED Talk, I had no clue on what I was going to talk about. As I got home from school, I made a plan that I was going to research a topic that lots of students struggle with today. That very instant, I saw my phone staring right back at me. So I did what any teenager would do. I sat on my phone playing video games and stalking people on social media and thought to myself, I could do this later. I have plenty of time. Later that night, I looked at the progress I made on my speech. I made no progress. I did not write a single word yet come up with a topic. So I made a revised plan that Saturday morning I could whip out at least the first 2 pages so I wouldn't be stressed about it later on. So I woke up Saturday morning, ate breakfast, sat down at my kitchen table, grabbed some paper, my pen, and my laptop and thought, let's do this thing. But then I looked up and saw that the Oklahoma versus TCU game was on. I can't miss this game. It's the Big 12 Conference Championship. It happens once a year. Then I had a brilliant idea. It was called multitasking. I was going to watch all the conference championship games and write this TED Talk. How hard could it be? 12 hours and 4 college football games later, I looked at my paper to see that I have only written my name on it. My mom walked past me and asked, "So how's the TED Talk going?" I replied, "Great, I haven't even started." Obviously not pleased with the fact, she said, "This better not be one of those projects you procrastinate till the night before." So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about procrastination. I want to explain what goes on inside the head of procrastinators, why we put off things to the very last minute, why do we put ourselves under so much stress, and what effects does it have on our lives. First off, procrastination isn't just a problem for our generation. The concept of procrastination goes all the way back to around 800 BC, when the Greek poet Hesiod cautioned not to put your work off till tomorrow and the day after. Tim Urban wrote a previous talk and describes that there is a rational decision maker and an instant gratification monkey inside a procrastinator's brain. So the rational decision maker will make the rational decision to do something productive. However, the monkey doesn't like that plan. This is something all procrastinators know very well. You will be assigned something that is due in the near future and you'll first think, okay, we need to sit down and do this right now. But then, the procrastinator inside you will say, totally agree. But first, let's go see if there's anything new in the pantry from 20 minutes ago. Then, let's watch a 3-hour movie on Netflix. And after that, as we sit down to do homework, we can start a blank wall for 2 hours because that's extremely entertaining. Procrastination affects numerous Americans today. According to some researchers, procrastination has more than quadrupled in the last 30 years. 30 years ago, there was a spike in the invention of new technologies that could have led to the increase of the percentage in the percentage of procrastinators in the United States. The average teen spends up to 9 hours a day on television, video games, and social media. Think of all the work you could get done in 9 hours. I think of procrastination in the same sense of keeping up with a lie. In order to keep your initial lie going, you need to keep making up more and more stories to a point where you can't go back without getting into serious consequences. You are then filled with a sense of guilt. When you procrastinate, you get further and further behind to a point where you can't keep up. Then you start to develop unhealthy amounts of stress, and then you become depressed, hopeless, and feel like you aren't good enough. Procrastination, in large part, reflects our perennial struggle with self-control, as well as our inability to accurately predict how well we'll feel tomorrow or the next day. Why do procrastinators struggle with writing a first sentence in an essay, but then have the unbelievable work ethic to write a 4-page paper in 45 minutes the night before it's due? Well, when a situation where a deadline is approaching, a person begins to panic. You get the urge to work fast and hard because you're afraid of what people will think of you if you don't finish this assignment. As humans, we try to refrain from public embarrassment, humiliation because it could ruin our reputation, popularity, etc. Lots of students look to the future and see how an assignment could affect everything they work for. Tim Urban, a famous blogger and writer, said that there are 2 kinds of procrastination. There is a procrastination with deadlines and without deadlines. What happens when there are no deadlines? Well, there's nothing to panic about, so there's nothing to kick us into gear and get kick us into gear and to get things done. This form of procrastination is probably the scariest and the kind that leads to a lifetime of guilt and pain. There are lots of examples of things that you can procrastinate that don't have deadlines. If you want to be an entrepreneur or start your own business, you have to put in the work to start it. There's no deadlines to take care of your health and exercise. Not being aware of these things can be a source of a huge amount of long-term unhappiness and regrets. Everyone in this world is procrastinating at least something right now. Some may not be as bad as others, but there's always something we can fix in our lives and do better. As I'm writing this TED Talk at 11 o'clock at night, the night before it's due, I want to ask you, what can you stop procrastinating this very moment? How can you finally stop procrastinating the things you shouldn't be? Some techniques I've found to be helpful to help with procrastination is to set goals. What do you want to achieve? What will you do to set yourself up for success? How can this goal help you in the long run? Another idea is to break your goals into little steps. Many people tend to look at the final goal and try to achieve it without taking the steps to reach it. That's why many people break down and become overwhelmed. Every marathon starts with a single step, and once we take that step and build a little momentum, everything gets a lot easier. I know if we all act right now to fix whatever we are procrastinating, we will be happier and overall more positive. If you can change that mindset of putting off things to the very end to getting things done beforehand, you will be able to do amazing things. It will take hard work and effort, but you can do it. Thank you.